Report of Trust, an all-new podcast series brought to you by Galaxy Surfactants Limited, a leading player in the world of surfactants and specialty care ingredients for home and personal care industry.
Credibility is the quality of being trusted. Sustainability reporting allows businesses to use solid data to build credibility with all stakeholders. Goodwill helps in growing sustainable partnerships. Like they say, you don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great. Welcome to Galaxy Surfactants Limited first ever podcast series, Report of Trust. I'm your host Isha Patwari, and in today's episode, we're going to talk about how to start reporting. To discuss this, we have Mr. Praveen Jadhav with us. Praveen Jadhav is a sustainability and climate change expert with about 2 decades of experience. He is a chemical engineer who started his career with R&D at the National Laboratories and worked on NATCOM, India's first national greenhouse gases inventory for the UNFCCC and development of CO2 capture technology. He later worked in the development of carbon credit, popularly known as clean development mechanism projects for companies as well as large power plants. In the last decade, he has helped companies across sectors to roll out sustainability initiatives, carbon and water neutrality plans, and prepare externally assured reports and certifications. So, welcome, Mr. Praveen, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Isha. It's a pleasure to be discussing sustainability always.
So far in the past episodes, we've understood the benefits of reporting, how to prepare to start your reporting journey, and also the challenges an organization can face during this journey. In this episode, we are going to be discussing more on the how part. We're going to drill into the basic logistical things that one has to go through when they're starting their sustainability reporting journey. I'll start with a very basic question that I think all our listeners have right now, which is that there are so many benchmarks and best practices for companies to follow. Where can we find reliable benchmarks and best practices?
Thank you, Isha. It's a very important question that everybody will start with when they want to initiate their journey of reporting. So, without getting into lost of with the information available, it is important to start what you want to tell, who is your audience, and what is the objective of your reporting. Uh, Typically, the objectives will start with either your customer has asked for your report if you are in the value chain of a large enterprise. Otherwise, some investors may be requesting if you are in the capital raising journey. So, depending on what is your objective, you can shortlist the benchmarks that you want to follow. Strategic stakeholder engagement with the right set of questions can unravel a lot of things, especially going into the risks, the new age risk like digital, cybersecurity, depending on the kind of sector that you are working in. So many benchmarks, including the rating agencies, have started giving their free and paid services even in India. Last 1 year, if we recall, these rating agencies have started to offer their paid services as well. Some of the examples we can say are CRISIL, which introduced their rating methodology in June. Then Edelweiss, these mutual fund houses which are launching the ESG rating or ESG funds, they have also introduced their methodologies. So many of these can be helpful in your journey. But I will recommend that you start with one or two of your sector's top companies. That can give you 95% of the material that you would need to start your first report.
I think we have the steps very clearly cut out from what you said. Identify what you want to follow, then identify your material topics, align with the stakeholders, have a good engagement with them on a strategic level. Also, refer to the industry's best to start your journey. That's perfectly what we were looking for. I'll quickly move to my next question, which is why is it essential to have the sustainability report of the company to be freely accessible?
Absence of information is one of the largest deterrents for your stakeholders to make their opinion. I have worked with a company where the company did not have proper resources in sustainability, and being a new company, they thought that they can take their time. However, because of the large increase in the shareholders or the market capital, A lot of ESG ratings have already given the company a score which is called Media and Stakeholder Analysis, MSS score. So even if you are not going to tell your story, the world is not going to stop and they are going to make opinions about you. So report is a great tool to tell your story, how you have identified the risks in the long term, how you have addressed all the risks from the best possible way that you can. Wherever you have some shortfalls, what you plan to do there, or the management approaches for all your material indicators. So based on these things, I think that sustainability report should not be taken as a compliance or one of the responsibilities, but rather a great opportunity to tell your story, how your strategy aligns well with the growth of all your stakeholders, how your company is resilient to the different risks that are going to be posed by the market, and it also gives confidence to your supply chain that yes, the business model is intact, the business model is evolving even if there are some challenges, and the new ways opportunities are going to be tracked, so the company is in for the long term. That also gives a great confidence to the customers, especially when you are a consumer goods company, etc.
Very rightly, as you said, if you're not going to tell your story, others are going to tell it for you. And that's not going to be the exact picture. Common apprehension that people have is that, I'm going out of my way and talking about my business. It exposes my brand to a certain kind of discussion, to a certain kind of assumptions. For example, if I've added renewable energy in my facilities and now my fuel costs are going to go down, it can have an effect on my profitability. And maybe investors and customers start approaching me to have that impact visible in their prices, in their profits as well. It might not be the complete picture, but there are certain risks associated with disclosing too much about your company. How do you deal with it? What is your perspective about this?
Yeah, again, a very important question that comes up in many initial reporters. So you are always in control of your report. It's your report, so you get to say what you want to tell about your important things. Sustainability report, I believe, is your opportunity to tell this is not the complete picture. Like in case of renewables, you told, uh, if it's going to improve my profitability, whether customer can expect a reduction in the cost or price of my products, then you can tell that renewables also is a risk for my business, that risk I am taking. In fact, some of the customers, especially the B2B customers, have declared their science-based targets, wherein they have taken the scope 3 reduction targets as well. So I believe it will not only give you a competitive edge over some of the other suppliers, but probably you could charge a premium as well. And similarly, any other controversy, one of the greatest benefits of sustainability reporting is the discussion that happens between the different departments and functions. A CFO may talk to the TC head from a different angle. The HR head will discuss with the environment department on a different angle on what are the competitors doing, how they are improving their gender ratios, etc., or how employees and especially the senior management's remuneration is linked to some of the beneficial things like energy efficiency, emission reduction, waste reduction. So these opens up different opportunities that you can tap.
One of the biggest benefits of reporting is the conversation that starts between the different departments. That's really important. And as you very accurately stated by you, you should start with whatever you can in the beginning. You don't have to say it all. I'd like to go back and ask some basic questions. Why, in your opinion, is it important to cover about resource depletion and environmental impact in your sustainability report?
Resource efficiency gives a great way to tell that how you are conscious of the raw materials availability. In the long term, how are you going to ensure that you can still have continued access to the resources that are required for the continuity of your business. So as we were discussing about conventional power, so coal, what are the risks in availability of the coal, whether the prices are going to go up because of any carbon taxes that may be applicable in some of the countries, whether you will get to have access to the fuel at the same cost, and if not, how are you addressing in terms of resource efficiency, in terms of alternate materials for your energy or the raw materials. So it also gives the confidence that you are going to be there in the business, and you address the risks that are imminent. You may not want to address, but your stakeholders are going to ask you, how are you addressing these issues? So resource efficiency is important way to tell how you value your fuels and raw materials that are required from your for the continuity of your business, especially if the resources are finite, or these are not coming from the sustainable, let us say, agricultural practices or forestry practices, etc. So there will always be a question in the minds of your investors and customers, whether you are going to sustain by using these practices. So this is your opportunity to tell how all your resources are efficiently used, as well as these are coming from the sustainable value chains, or your supplies will continue to exist in changes in case of there are changes in the regulations or prices, etc.
Wonderful, Praveen. Now I move to my next question. As a part of our audience has just started their sustainability reporting journey or are on the edge of starting their journey, what do you think is in store for them in the future?
Again, a great question. Once you have started, where do you want to go and what to expect? So, in India, as all of us know, the new BRSR and the national guidelines on responsible business conduct, they have removed the word voluntary. So it's a question of time when even possibly the going beyond top 1,000, the similar questions may be requested by your investors or your large consumers, etc. If even if you are not mandated by the stock exchanges, you are not listed company, still investors may want to know about how you are addressing these issues. So going further, the business responsibility report or your short brief sustainability report based on some of the specific sector-wise issues that are of importance may be asked by all of your suppliers and investors. Even if you are going to go for any capital raising or going to expand your plants, similar to SEBI, the regulator also may ask about how it impacts your carbon efficiency, because of lot of discussion around climate and various countries discussing around how they are reducing their carbon pathways of their economic growth. So these questions will be of imminent importance. Going further, there will be some standardization of the reporting frameworks, because as we discussed, apart from GRI, there are many other reporting means.
Summing up what you said, basically the frequency of the reporting is going to go up and also the magnitude of reporting. Now I'm going to ask my final question, which we ask all our guests. And that is, what is your final piece of advice for our listeners to make their own report of trust?
So sustainability reporting, as we have seen, is going to have increased scrutiny. So have a transparent report, and because it's a voluminous work, possibly either have an in-house team and dedicated team members. If not, have a proper consultant who has knowledge of the sector, and also give your people some KRAs and KPIs where they can give some dedicated time. Just because you have appointed a consultant possibly may not give you the right kind of material that you want to highlight your story, or how a company is transparently coming out in your sustainability report. So possibly identify the right resources or sustainability champions across all your units. Organize some of the conferences that you can collect case studies from. Let us say best energy efficiency projects, best resource management project, best waste management practices, best practices in the human resources or social sector, etc., which will give people possibly a little more ownership compared to a report which is made by external agency. competitive kind of organization will possibly give you a little more than what you expect in a normal sustainability report. And where possible, avoid overstatements. Like there is a lot of criticism about the greenwashing. So just don't tell one side of the story if it is not transparently backed by the evidences, etc. Where if questioned, you can show the numbers behind it. So avoid trying to have such greenwashing or overstatements.
Basically, transparency is important, but it's okay if we're a little behind. It's not a competition. Intention is important. You should have the intent. Thank you so much, Praveen, for joining us and giving your time and sharing such wonderful insights with our listeners. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sha.
Thanks for listening to the Report of Trust. We hope you enjoyed our deep dive into sustainability reporting. If you're keen to see how reporting can make a positive impact, join us in our next episode, where we'll have another insightful conversation on how to use transparency and sustainability reporting to enable responsible business practices. If you enjoyed our podcast, please like or share and do let us know your thoughts in the comment section. That's all for this episode. See you next time on Report of Trust.